Welcome to Over 7 Days. I'm Moon Cell. We're with Remy as well. And I just want to
Indeed.
ask you, Remy, are you over it?
Wait, what?
I just, over seven
Wait,
days. It's our first episode. I just want to know, are you over? Are you under? How you feeling
oh,
over 7 days?
I ain't gonna say I'm over 7 days, but you know what? I'll go with under, but not really in the fact of saying like, all right, these last 7 days have really been kicking my butt, but more so, these last 7 days have been enough for me to stay mentally engaged. I can say
Hmm.
that for sure.
Mentally engaged. Anything
Yeah,
in particular that's like,
that is one question that I hope people learn to never ask me again. I have so many thoughts, and it's like, bruh, I'm going to do my best to be honest with you, and that's the question that you want me to be completely honest about. Okay.
well, I
Um.
know that we had a lot of conversation even
Right.
before, you know, this first episode. So let's start at the beginning because we mentioned, the high that a lot of
Mhm.
us get sickle cell, we chase and things like that.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
when it comes to the high of, let's say, an engaged mind, what would you say, I guess, triggered
That is a statement
that?
I have never thought about before. Wow. I'm sorry. Continue though.
No, that was the question. I mean, that you can even finish the question, or I'm just trying to realize, like, too, like, when you said
Oh,
engagement,
wow.
it clicked something for me. So, like, with we have a lot of time. Let's say when we're in the hospital, like
Yeah. Yeah.
we're in an admission, and we can utilize our mind, or we can just sleep. Like, I'm asleep, okay, but
Yeah. I
when
mean,
you
majority of the
say
time we're physically out of the game, so we only have you know mental and spiritual to rely on or try to engage with at the very least. So yeah, no. It was just with you saying that um mental engagement throughout our last few interactions. Just the way you said it, I have never heard it or thought about it in that way before. So now it's making me think about the fact of, yeah, no, I'm definitely, I guess you can compare that to like being tired or being fatigued about engaging or how you have engaged with so many different things throughout the day that by the time the end of the day comes, you're actually, probably tired or whatever. But in a mental comparison, it's just for me, no, it brings a lot more activity. So in the moments where I'm supposed to be tired, fatigued, or whatnot, it's like, no, I'm like Super Saiyan level 32. It's like, bruh, this is the moment when you're not supposed to be in this state and nobody around you at this time, because it normally be like 3, 5 o'clock in the morning. Nobody else at this time is engaging and active the way you are right now. So yeah, no, it was chasing. That's how you said it. Chasing that high in regards to mental engagement. That is a sentence that, boy, I'm going to leave this session and think about that throughout this week. That is a statement that I would get that tattooed on me. I have never heard that before. But
I mean, I more so put it together with our conversation about the high, the chase of the high, and
right,
you mentioning mental engagement. But I want to get back to what you said at the beginning with mental engagement and this week
yeah.
and over the 7 days. What engaged it this time over these past 7 days?
Um, it's always personal life for me. That's the only thing that makes it easy. Well, personal life and I would say the way that I analyze the world. But I don't really want to mention that as a list because it ends up going down the list of, oh, you think you're better than other people. But I'm just gonna say just personal things. Yeah, just my life. I'm analyzing everything. So when I'm analyzing something that's more personal to me, I end up breaking it down when it's already been broken down many different ways before. And it always end up coming back to self. Instead of me thinking about how to fix that problem outside of me, I always end up breaking it down to the point to where I'm really just looking for how much of me is engaged in that situation so I can focus on that because that's the portion that I can control. Everything else outside of that I cannot control. So let me learn how to discipline the part that is tied to me directly. But chasing the high is a topic or a thought that, like I said, came from life because, of course, you know, with us being sick, that's a regular thing. And also knowing that the medicines that we take is also a regular thing, almost as equal to us just breathing to live because we have to take medicine all the time. There is no choice of, no, I don't want to take that unless you're choosing the route of giving up. And I feel after we've fought so much in our life, the option or the thought of, all right, I just give up, I feel that that's, though it could be attainable to some people, I just feel that we already have so many different actions and patterns and levels of discipline of fighting that wouldn't necessarily be the choice. But like I said, it's always a choice. So
it's interesting you say that, either give up or, you know, just go with the painkillers. Speaking of painkillers, there's a new show on Netflix called Painkillers. I suggest everyone watch it. It might be a little triggering for some, so disclaimer, but it is a good show to
yeah.
check out. But in regards to giving up, I recently saw a post a couple of weeks ago. I believe her Instagram handle is just Leia, and essentially she mentioned how she visited, I believe, Kenya, and spoke to people, you know, there with sickle cell, and how they don't have narcotics, they don't have opioids or painkillers. So when they go through a crisis, they kind of just gotta be in it and cope
Mm-hmm.
with it. And I'm sure it's definitely not just Kenya. A lot of countries, especially Nigeria, being a high population of people with sickle cell, you know, like just having no accommodations like that shows me that, okay, at least we do. I'm grateful that we do. It's just what is the cost though? At what cost? Because of
Right.
the chase, you know, either, even if, let's say, you don't have any sort of addiction to these painkillers, even when you don't, when you're in pain, you are still gonna depend on it, and you feel like there's just no escape out of,
Yeah.
you know, the pain we've felt and are feeling today, right now, you know. So
Mm-hmm. Ends up relying on, yeah, you just end up relying on that. And the your reference with other people that don't have that to rely on is definitely, that is a, that statement directly, but I have had other doctors in the past, of course, mention it to me, and then I've had doctors also in the past that mention it and also try to act on enforcing such a mindset, and that's the part that I end up like being defensive on, because I understand the point and what they're saying, and I don't feel any way about that other than one specific thought, and I'll share that in a minute. But when they started to act on it, and it's like, bro, hold up, you've been by a doctor here in America, sir, for
yeah,
this
we're in the
long.
Americas, like.
Why are you trying to enforce a whole new structure in play right now? And then, of all moments, you're trying to enforce it right now while I'm in the hospital sick. Like,
You made us
we
depend
can
on
work on
it.
this when I'm out.
Right. We you were our first, no offense, again grateful for the relief, but you were our first dealers. You said, yeah, this will do the trick.
Facts.
Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
really said this will do the trick. So now, in order for you to give us our African diaspora mentality back, give me a
Mm-hmm.
psychiatrist, not even psychiatrist. I don't want no prescripted mental drugs, but get me a psychologist, a therapist, a neuroscientist,
Mm-hmm.
because you
Mm-hmm.
are talking out of your ass, sir. Sorry, not sorry.
No, that's facts. Yes.
You be on codeine, morphine, or hydromorphone for 15 years and tell
Man.
me, oh, just don't think about it.
Right, yo. Oh my god, yo. Flashbacks. I have so many thoughts right now that I'm not going to even mention and act on. But the other side of that is, like I said, I understand it in regards to how the others that might be going through what we go through on the other side of the world, how they have to go through it. I understand it 100%. The only, and actually, me understanding that and trying to gain additional knowledge of that said structure and format and how things play out is also a huge piece to what helped me begin the fight, or the, also I guess you could say it's a chase in a way, also the chase of learning how to deal with the withdrawals, or learning how to not rely on them as much and understand the different phases for me as Remy, as an individual with sickle cell. That was a huge piece also to build up the mindset that I needed, or that I created for myself, to make additional steps. And the main thing from that I took in comparison to the way the doctors tried to deliver it is the fact of, well, that's a switch that I gotta turn on. But not only is that a switch I gotta turn on, for me, I gotta create that switch, because that switch didn't exist for me, because I came into the game already dealing with medicine. And even when I realized what was going on in regards to understanding how sickle cell works, I still had to understand how sickle cell works for me and my body, me and my mind. And then I got to understand them as a duo, as a collab, to even be like, all right, I can create this switch and then I can turn it on, because the switch that I already have in play is completely different from their switch.
Mm.
So that was a huge piece in helping me build a system, build an infrastructure for myself internally, to learn how to deal with withdrawals and get through that system over and over and over again. Because of course, still got sickle cell, so I still got sickle cell problems.
Right, right. I think everyone needs to find their process for sure. Like you said, you got to figure out your sickle cell with your body, and you got to figure out your sickle cell with your mind, and that is
Mhm.
facts. We can't forget about the mind part, and integrating the mind with the body to understand the sickle cell on a
Mhm.
molecular level. On a molecular level, we can release, as human beings, we can release opioids from our brain, a
Yep.
hormone that is just like opioids.
Yep.
Who's to say eventually we can use that part of our brain to release our own opioids and deal with our pain in that way, but we do
Exactly.
have to come to a realization that we can't just rely on these types of highs, because moon cells gets a little spiritual, logical, but when you look at
I was sitting there thinking that, like, all right, she
when
about to
you look
kick
at
in.
painkillers, you're looking at
Yeah.
the painkillers, and these are formulas that were metaphysical before it became something, before it became the plant, before they, and then before they extracted from the plant to use, the extraction to create and press it and create their chemicals to create the drug. This was all, this is all an orchestra. And it's just important to know that about medicine, that medicine is formulas and concoctions and potions.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
we must understand these things so that at least we know, again, like Remy said, understanding our cell with our body and mind, and then understanding the very same painkiller with understanding it with the body and mind too, and know how to
Right.
navigate your mind while you're on those things so that when you're off of it, you don't need to go back to it.
Right. And
Yeah.
I thought about saying this before when I speak to individuals about this said topic, and I always end up choosing just not to say it because I feel it'd be drawn out, but I also feel if somebody understood the entire thing, it would be also a very important understanding to have. And I figured, like, well, you know what? Since she kind of already sprinkled a little bit of that into this conversation already, I'm going to attempt to do so. So I apologize if this comes across tragic and horrible in regards to the delivery. And I'm going to try not to drag this out. Now, the same way you just said that, how you have to understand the details of how that works for us individually and how it is created. Like, it's being created by somebody else through different measures and whatnot. Just understanding that alone, we already got the clear picture of, all right, yeah, this is created by the scientists or whatnot in a lab somewhere. They're doing their specific things to get it into pill form for us to take. Now, just isolating that alone, the quote unquote professionals, the scientists, just for them to do their part, they also have to remain aware of the fact that what they're trying to even gather as individual properties or whatnot, before they even get all of these said properties and values in one solid pill form, these things are already moving and separated that they have to try to manage and control. That's the scientists alone. They're getting whatever it is in the natural, in its purest form, and in its purest form, it is still something that they have to try to understand on many different levels, and even those said levels are always changing for them to understand. So for them, once they get that, because there's going to be some of those things where, all right, we can't use this little batch or whatever because it didn't come out the way we were supposed to. Why it didn't come out the way they were supposed to? It could be on behalf of the scientists, but it could also be on behalf of its natural state. These said properties, they were not able to get to work the way they wanted to, so it had to get set aside. But once they get it the way they want to, then it becomes a pill. Then it becomes whatever the said execution or conclusion is supposed to be to deliver to the masses. I'm going to skip the entire middle phase of all of this, which is then it go out to testing to other groups and all this other stuff to make sure it's valid or invalid. I'm going to just skip that portion completely. So it's in pill form. Skip the entire testing and approval phase, and then it gets to us. They had to go through all that alone just to make it. And then we get it, and we all can't take the same dosage. Why? Because we all have different levels of pain. We all have different ways our body engage with it. There's people that are allergic to it. So that alone, to me, is a clear picture of You have to understand how it works for you, the individual, not the masses of sickle cell. So, all
Mm.
right, cool. That's two to three different moments of very obvious clarity from my understanding. I'm just trying to break it down how I think about things.
Right.
Now, with that, okay, just growing up as a child with sickle cell, you don't even get to the point of understanding science and medicine, anatomy, the body, spirituality. If I was to guess, you don't even get that understanding probably until maybe 15, 16, depending on how you were raised.
If you're
And
lucky.
right. And even if you have the perfect environment to understand those said categories, maybe 20 something, 27, to where you're like, I can pinpoint this, and this without cracking open a book. But that's 16 to 27. I'm not a professional. I'm guessing. This is all my opinion. 16 to 27 years of living with sickle cell and taking medicine that affects all of those categories that I just spoke on. But even all of those categories are affected just based off of you living as a person, not a person with sickle cell, as just a human being, as an individual. So by the time I got to the understanding of these said categories and for myself, I was like 20, probably 25 or 26, maybe. And I still had to crack open a book. I still was asking questions like that was just a part of my mindset and maybe my own level of awareness. And also, and another huge thing that I feel makes it easier for us, but I'm gonna just keep it on me, that made it easier for me is, and I feel like I said this, I don't know if I said this to you recently or if I just said it publicly recently, but the more hurdles we have as a person, the more opportunities of lessons you are able to gather.
Right.
So being sick so many different times or having so many different moments where it's like, bro, I can't function physically. I have to rely on my mental game or my spiritual game to just get me through this. You end up learning all the time, period. It just becomes, all right, what you learned in this category and this category, can you connect the dot with them? That's it.
Connect the dots.
Yeah. So by the time I understood that, that's when I was like, oh yeah, no, this is a cycle that we all have to understand individually for ourselves. And if we can connect enough dots for ourselves, then we'll have a better understanding of what structure should always be in play for ourselves, what atmosphere makes it best for us, how my body responds, and how I can also affect that structure internally to make this said process a whole lot easier.
Absolutely. We definitely need to have some sort of incubator or like
Boy.
a place where we throw in the tools. We throw in everyone throw in your tools so that we can see
Right.
someone might need a wrench, someone might need a this or that. Oh, you use it like that or you do it like this. Oh, like we need an
Mm-hmm.
incubator where we really just share what you're saying, the dots that we've connected for ourselves, and then we can create a whole map.
Yeah, that's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing here. We're starting it here now, providing our own insight, providing our own understanding. As long as we're doing it on the format of, like our own life, to where somebody can't come at us and say, "Well, that's not true." Well, I shut your face. This actually happened. This is
Right.
really what happened. I'm sorry.
We gonna let y'all know.
Yeah,
Well, this
I'm just happy I got through that. Lord Jesus,
no,
I was
I
ready to give
love
up.
how we're able to break this down. I do feel like this is definitely a part one of chasing the high. But for now,
Oh
I
my
would
God.
like to say, as much as possible, to try to be over this painkiller high and be with your
Mm-hmm.
natural high. We gonna get there somewhere, somehow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure. I
But
achieved
we,
it multiple times.
yes, absolutely. So we're gonna definitely be back over the next 7 days, right, Remy?
Facts. Definitely. We will be back over the next 7 days. I love that.
All right. Well, y'all know where to find us. You can find us on TikTok at Over 7 Days and on YouTube Over 7 Days Podcast. Be sure
Mm-hmm.
to like, comment, and subscribe because we have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff coming, like literally coming every week. So
Yeah,
be
it's about
aware
to be a
of
wrap.
everything going on.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Peace out, y'all.
Adios.